All right, road trip yesterday. Picked up this non-running 1282. So this has a single cylinder 12 horsepower. And my lens is fogging up because it's so humid out here, if you can believe that. So, picked this up yesterday, about 100 miles from here, and it'll be the donor for the second rear axle. So we're going to pull this into the shop and disassemble it. So get started on that. I need to pull my 4x4, wipe my lens again. This is crazy. So humid out here. Pull my 4x4 out of here. Make room in here to work on the 1282. I may need the forklift to bring it in here. I have to see what I'm going to do. It does not roll very easily since it's a hydrostat, and it's supposed to have auto release valves on it, but I don't. They must be stuck. They may be stuck, so it does not roll. Had to winch it with a come along onto the trailer yesterday. So, all right, we'll see what we can do here to get this thing off. Okay, go on. My good boy. All right, that clears it. Got a drill operated winch on the back there. All right, one tire is totally flat. I don't know if I can get air in it. It's come off the rim. All right, well, I'm going to see if I can just pull it off with the forklift. All right, so you can see this tractor's in bad shape. Both of these tires are off the rims. The rear tire holds air for about 2 minutes or 3 minutes. We were able to inflate it to winch it onto the trailer. So this is substantially different from the other tractors that we've been working on. It's got an aluminum one-piece nose and grill. It's all aluminum. It does have a single cylinder, 12 horsepower engine. So it's got, some of the same features of the K-Series. It may be K-Series. It's got different air cleaner, different muffler system on it. So sure, otherwise it looks like it's a regular K-Series 12 horsepower. K301. All right, the steering is shot. There's so much slop in the steering. The gearbox is probably ruined. And like I said, the rear wheels are locked up. So I don't know what kind of condition the transmission is in, the transaxle. So that'll be one of the things we'll do is pull it apart and check it. All I need is, the thought was a tag axle. Use this as a tag axle. Of course, mounting it, you can solid mount it to the frame just like the other rear axle. So this is the situation. Extend this frame and add a second rear axle. Now this one's driven. This is a 4x4, so this axle's driven. Hydrostatic transmission. Question is, should we try to drive the other rear axle? And how should it be mounted? The plan is to extend this frame. It's got to be extended about 2 feet to account for the other axle. So it'll also then accommodate a larger dump bed. All right, so that's the kind of the plan, or part of a plan, genesis of a plan. We've got to get this tractor taken apart. So that's the next task. Disassembly, and I may part out some of this. I'll use the rear wheels to replace those tires. I mean, there's a pretty good tread on those tires, so I'm not sure why it's not holding air. Let's look at them and see. The tires don't look that old, but could be, something a tube might fix. Okay, well, she's coming apart. The date on this battery is 10/20/14. All right, I'm going to save these light fixtures. All right, that's the mule drive. And this is specific to the 82 series tractors, since it uses a 5/8 inch belt as opposed to the 3/8 inch used on the older tractors. That's not an International Harvester belt. That's a Tractor Supply belt. Okay. All right, I got my jump pack here. Let's see if it turns over. I've got it grounded on top there. So the engine cranks over. So it's probably worth saving. So we'll do that. We'll save it. It has oil in it. It's not too dirty. It's only about half on the dipstick mark. This tractor has never been apart, or never been, I don't know. These are the original lock nuts. I guess it's possible they put the original ones back on. Once we get the frame split, we'll look at the transmission, see what kind of condition it's in. I gotta fix this tire, flat tire. I gotta get new tires for this to match the other tires. The wheels are good. We'll pull the wheels off, drain the transmission, we'll look at it, see what kind of condition it's in, decide how we're going to use it. Whether I'm going to pull the hydrostat off, put a plate over it and just use it as a tag axle, or whether we're going to hook it up to the drive line maybe and make it a drive axle. I don't know if the starter motor will turn over 3 hydrostats in a row. It's surprised me that it was able to turn over the 2, though I have another machine where it turns over 2, but I have a couple machines where it won't turn them both over. So, okay, well, we'll come back tomorrow. Mark this off, cut it about here, probably cut it up here so I get pieces I can handle more easily. I want to hurt my back. It's already achy as it is. So, all right, that's about it for today. All right, I'm down to just the rear end. That took me better part of yesterday, about 4 hours, and then half an hour or so this morning, cutting it apart. All right, I got it up on a set of dollies here. I can move it around. It weighs, I'm gonna say it weighs close to 300 pounds. All right, so here's the, pull the 4x4 back in. I've got the second rear axle here. It's jacked up compared to these other ones since it's off the floor on these dollies. But this is, I mean, like this, it's way too long. I mean, these two rear wheels need to be closer together. Let me turn this around, see what it looks like. I'm only doing this to check what it would look like with the wheel spacing. And it's too big. All right, I'm not prepared to add another axle here. I mean, that makes it 12 feet long, 10 feet long. Too big. Remember, my earlier criteria were to have something that was agile enough to get in and out of gates on the property, be useful around the house. And it's just too big this way. I mean, even if I were to, account for the transmission, I can't get the wheels much closer. They're 4 inches apart now. Maybe could go to 2 inches or something, but it's just too big. My original thought was it would be too big. I thought the idea of adding a third axle made sense. There were a lot of good suggestions about it. I was concerned about the scale, the size of it becoming unmanageable. And in fact, clearly is for my purposes. Well, I have another rear end now for some other project. I'm going to continue on this one we're going to start building out the back of it, the dump bed. So that's what's next. All right, folks, that's it for this episode. Kind of a demolition derby, cutting apart a tractor to remove desired parts. As it turns out, setting the new rear end or this salvaged rear end up against the back of the tractor, it's just too big. As you may recall, early on in my first episode or two, I indicated, the criteria for this build, which included kind of a nimble profile, something I could get through a 4-foot gate opening. Now, it's 5-foot gate, but 4-foot, basically 4-foot opening. So it needed to be, relatively small. Now, I don't have large scale projects. I don't need a huge bed on the tractor. I don't need commercial duty. So keep those things in mind. And with most of my builds, they're useful for my purposes, which may not be your purposes or anybody else's purpose. So they have to satisfy the criteria for my needs. And adding the tag axle just makes the machine too big to store and too clumsy or too cumbersome to maneuver on my property. I have kind of a convoluted yard with a lot of little areas that are sectioned off by gardens and fences and stuff. So I need something that I can easily move around. So I'm not going to add a third axle. So that's my decision. We're going to build a bed on the existing tractor. It will be a relatively small bed. The style, though, I'm hoping will be interesting. So, as with a lot of my builds, I try to scale them to, existing equipment, make them kind of look like existing equipment. So, I'm thinking right now, rock truck style bed. So, that's what I'm looking at. We'll come back next week, and that's where we'll start working on that bed. And I had asked previously for some comments, some suggestions about beds. Got a comment about a Unimog. That's a lot like the Gator I have right now in terms of, kind of being a flat bed. So while that's interesting, that's not going to be, it's not going to be what I'm going to do. So think rock truck in a quarry with, slanted sides at the bottom and kind of a down, angled in, flat bottom truck body, dump body. So that's where we're headed. So we'll come back next week working on adding a bed to this existing tractor. So first step is to build a support frame that will sit on top of this frame and provide the basis for the hydraulics and the dump bed itself. So that's where we're headed next week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.